Euge here again. My mixing tips series continues. This time is drums and snare. Some of you have asked why I haven't filmed myself. Well, I'm traveling. I don't have a camera with me and I don't have a guitar with me. So I thought that this is a good time for me to do these mixing tip videos. When I'm back home in my studio, I will do more, I will play more guitar and do more guitar related stuff. Anyway, this is the same song I've used on my previous mixing tip videos. It goes like this. Okay, so you got a general idea about the song, about the drum sound, and about the snare, while I muted different snares and different reverbs. Let's start from the snare top. That's my basic snare, and then snare bottom you get the crack, and then these child room effects. So what I pretty much always do, which is a good tip, I'll put the silencer first. This is great plugin by Black Salt Audio. Then in this case I used a little bit escalator, which is kind of saturation, and then the classic SSL-E channel that I have always on everything. I know these channels just like my own pockets, which is pretty good. So let's focus on this main snare. Let's bypass everything else and see what I've done with this mix. So this is without anything, quite a lot of bleed. Let's add the silencer. Then let's add the escalator. Just adds a little bit of, saturation. Then the E channel EQ. More 200, that's kind of the bottom, snare. Then I've cut it out some low mid mud, and added some 8K. Then let's add compression. And a second gate to clean it even more. Okay, so 200 is kind of the good starting point to add bottom to snare. And then usually around 3,800, 3,500, there's this boxy frequency. Let me show you. Pop, pop. If you cut it too much, you lose all the, the body of the snare. And then 8K just adds a nice crack. A little bit compression makes it a bit punchier, and with these silencers, gates, de-essers, I usually like to use two. I feel like it in series, so I get more natural gating, de-essing, whatnot, than just using one. So first is the silencer, then it adds, first thing cleans it up, then adds a little bit saturation, which brings it a little bit more the background noise, then this SSL gate does the cleaning. Cool, that was that. And then taking out some bottom and some extra top. Then what I do with the bottom snare, I'm basically using it pretty much always just for a snap. Again, first thing, silencer, to got most of the stuff out. Then adding a little bit saturation with the escalator. Just a bit. Then adding the EQ. Cutting everything below 150, 200. It's just the rattle of the snare wires, and boosting a ton of 7K to really highlight those rattles. And compressing a bit. Compressor is, the EQ is pre-dynamic, so the compressor is reacting to this EQ. Fast attack. So I just want the snap, that. And then expander. Then together with the main snare. Without the bottom. We just adds that. And now I had the reverbs on. Let's bypass those so you hear this without them. So what I have is a short room, then medium room, then gated reverb. This is just a little bit in, or if I want to have Springsteen Born in the USA snare sound, I crank this. We all know that's snare sound, especially if you heard Born in the USA. And that's a Pro Tools own D-verb, non-linear verb. Okay, so 3 basic reverbs just to make, create nice pace around the drums. Let me play the whole drum mix with and without the reverbs. Cool. It just adds a little bit, space. Okay, then comes this special thing. I'm copying this snare top track to this snare tile drum track. And in this case, because these are MIDI drums for the purpose of this video, but I'm using them as real drums. As you see, there's nothing going on in the mixer, full bleed and so on. So it's like real drums. So let's listen this snare top on its own. And it goes to this tile drum. If I mute the tile drum, there's nothing. So you see, all of these other snares, main snares, they go to snare bus. This and this, they go to this effect, tile drum, and that's EOS 2, my tile drum preset. This is the closest thing I found for real lexicon piece instead of tile drum preset. I have the real one. This is pretty much it. And there's other stuff going on. We'll get into that soon. So I'm heavily gating this. this is the way I've done this for years, long time. If it's real drums, I'm just copying the main snare top track, and then I'll do this, and then I send it to tile room, so I have control and gate it heavily. Doesn't matter if it's short or long, it's just a pop to trigger the tile room reverb. And now comes the white rule. This I have to give kudos where the kudos belongs, which is JP Henry, fantastic American, I believe, mixing engineer. Link to his channel in the description below. So I recently watched, just popped up on my feed, like Andy Sneap, white noise, whatever triggering trick. And I've learned a lot from Andy's Mix with the Masters videos, and from my colleagues, that does the same thing too. But this was a really cool thing. I was like, oh, that's nice. I never thought about that you could do it that way too, this triggering the tile room. So what's going on here? Again, this is completely JP Henry. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Good advice. I've actually used this on a couple of real mixes. I mean, this is a real mix, but this is just a track for YouTube. But anyway, maybe this will be track of my next solo album, or maybe not for CYHRA, because this is not really CYHRA style. But anyways, so what's going on here? I'm sending from this pop track, which is just this, sending to white noise track, pre-fader. So if I mute this, it still goes there. Okay, cool. Then there's signal generator, which does this if I bypass the gate. So, this creates the noise, and then this is sidechained. So this channel strip gets the info from, this send here, SNZ sidechain. So it sends it here, so it gates the white noise. Range all the way up, threshold all the way up. Release, you can make it shorter, longer. With the compressor, it's a little bit snappier. You can dial these according to taste, but the idea is just to get this, triggering thing for the tile room reverb. Cool. And I've got it, everything, below 150 or so. Then comes really cool thing. So I'm using this harmonizer to lower the tuning of this white noise. And the idea, again, thanks JP, is to match the white noise kind of with the original snare. So dial it that it's kind of similar, or if you want, you can dial it whatever you want. But this is kind of the idea that you use this even touch harmonizer to change the pitch of the white noise, what we are generating with this signal generator. I believe other DAWs has similar things too, and then we're gating that heavily triggered by the main snare here, key sidechain triggering, whatever. And then we're using this to change the pitch of the white noise to match the pitch of the original snare. Cool. And then what happens here is these three I've done always, but this H949 thing, again, thanks JP, that was a good trip. It's like guitar playing. No matter how long you do it, you always learn something new. Just keep your antennas wide open. So I learned this from JP. Okay, so what's happening here? If you just use these two, the white noise generators, so this just makes the reverb wider. And here, you know, according to JP, you know, what he showed is cool to raise this pitch a tiny bit. Listen. So you can really control the pitch of the child room reverb. Fantastic. And you know, there's the EOS. This is the channel. Nothing going on except mic preacher, a little character. Pro Q took out some whistling stuff. You know, those upper mid kind of ear piercing stuff. Just, you know, took them out. And that's the child room reverb. How cool is that? And now I have independent control of the child room reverb, which is my main snare reverb. I have these 3 others too, but that's the main. So it's completely clean from, you know, all the bleed from other mics. So it's really controllable. There's only that. Let's listen. Then I can use these failures to create, you know, different reverbs to snare. Make it bigger, make it wider, add gated reverb, add more small room or medium room or short room. The short room is actually bigger. It's actually quite large room, but short decay. And this medium room is smaller room, but shorter decay. And then another thing which I showed also on the previous video about kick drums, but I'm gonna show it to here you now. I'm gonna change the groove to 4 on the floor, kind of Tommy Lee kind of thing. This one. This is a multiband compression thing. In a 4 on the floor beat, the kick and snare are hitting a lot of times the same time. And as you heard, when I bypassed these multiband side-chained compressors, the sound became more, you know, not so clear. So whenever the kick is hitting, it's tugging 200 and around 2K frequencies out from snare. And whenever the snare is hitting, it's adding those same frequencies. So the frequency balance, whatever you want to call it, doesn't change, but it just makes the kick more audible and also the snare more audible, especially the kick. So I'm sending from the main kick, from the main snare, you know, comes this kick side chain. The key input is the snare side chain here. And on this snare sidechain compressor, it gets its signal, it's triggered by the kick sidechain input here, or send here. So that's another cool thing. And then I have parallel compression and so on. Let me show you what that does. Let's put these on. That's a fat song. You can do this similar thing with if you don't have the UAD, interface and so on. You can do this with de-stressor and tape simulator too. Then parallel compression, which is Neve, and Pultec kind of Euge style compression. That's fatso. Parallel compression, that's parallel compression. It makes it more punchy and present. There you go, how I usually do my snare. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got inspiration, tips and tricks to your snare mixing. And remember, there's only one rule. If it sounds good, it's good. All right, thanks for watching. Take care. Until next one. Bye.